Hi, I'm Andy Savage. Welcome to One Man and His Meeple. Today I'm playing Pax Pamir 2nd edition. In Pax Pamir, players assume the role of 19th century Afghan leaders attempting to forge a new state after the collapse of the Durrani Empire. Western histories often call this period the Great Game because of the role played by the Europeans who attempted to use Central Asia as a theatre for their own rivalries. In this game, those empires are viewed strictly from the perspective of the Afghans, who sought to manipulate the interloping Ferengi or foreigners for their own purposes. The game consists mainly of purchasing and playing cards and then taking actions which affect the balance of power on the map. Periodically, players pause to assess whether any coalition has dominance, and then players score based on their support of the dominant coalition. If no coalition is dominant, the player with the most influence on the game in terms of spies and tribes will score. In the solo game, you play against an automated opponent called Wakhan. Thematically, this opponent represents some radical ideology, theological or philosophical, that has taken hold across the region and that transcends traditional loyalties. In the game, she is represented by a deck of cards which prioritise certain actions each turn and can present a surprising challenge despite a relatively small range of options. So, let's play! Okay, so the first thing we have to do is decide which of the factions we're going to support at the start of the game out of Afghanistan, Russia or Britain. And we're going to have a look at the tableau to decide that. So there's only a couple of patriots. We've got one Russian patriot and two Brits, or two British patriots. Well, this one's very cheap. So I think well, we've got British on the dial. Let's stick with British to start with, and see how we go with that. Of course, Wakhan takes the first go, so we're going to turn over Wakhan's card here and have a look. Let's zoom in on that. Okay, so for Wakhan's turn, we follow these. We've got 3 instructions down here, and we follow those, doing whatever ones we can. If we can't do them, we'll skip to the next one, and we keep going to get to the bottom. We'll go back to the top, and we'll keep doing that until we've done 2 actions for Wakhan. Wakhan doesn't have to purchase and play a card separately as 2 separate actions like we do. Wakhan does an action called Radicalize, which is just take and play a card in one go and do all the benefits that come with that card. So their first action says Radicalize a card that will gain Wakhan control of a region. So what cards will gain Wakhan control of a region? When she has 4 coins, so it could be any of these 10 cards here, but she'll take the cheapest that fulfills the criteria, and that's going to be Transcaspia, Mir Murad Beg there, because it's the cheapest that fills the criteria. It's got the crown on the cylinder icon, so that'll be the one. So she's going to buy that and play it into her portfolio. She will play it to the right as priority, so we'll put that over there for now. And that means she puts a cylinder on Transcaspia and takes control of that, and she puts a cylinder on a card for the second action there. For the third action, she changes the favoured suit to military. So all cards now are going to cost both of us double. I like to take these tokens, these wooden tokens, I like to take them from the map and put them on one of the political cards that match the region. Then we know if we lose this Transcaspia card, this token has to go back on, so it shows that she rules Transcaspia for now. So that was the 3 actions down the side there, account for the discs. Okay, the second action here on this card is Battle, which she is not going to do. And so we'll go on to the third action, which is Radicalize. So if we just zoom in there, the decorative arrow here means that she will prioritize space number 1 to radicalize from, and from the bottom is this red arrow points to the bottom, and the right there decides which side of her court she's going to play the card. So she wants to buy position 1 from the bottom. So we'll just take that one there. She has to put 2 coins into position 0 because coins are cards cost double because it's military. And this is another card that's going to give her another region. So she's going to take a counter and put it in Kandahar. And she's also going to place a block in Kandahar. Her favoured faction, her pragmatic loyalty at the moment would go Britain, which is ours, so she won't take that. So she'll favour Afghanistan. And she's going to put that block into Kandahar. Standing up means it's an army. Laying down would signify a road across that border. So that's her 2 main actions done. She will now follow all the actions. She'll go across all her cards, following all the actions on the bottom row for any free actions she might have. Now, as the favoured suit is military, and she has no military cards, unless she has one of the specials on her card that says it always counts as favoured, which she doesn't, so she'll get no further actions from that. So into cleanup, we'll move all these down. There are no events at the moment. Okay, first event. It is Rebuke. If it's discarded, we change the suit back to political, and if it's purchased, we remove all tribes and armies in a single region. That'll be of our choice if we decide to purchase it. We can't afford it this round because we're in military, obviously. So what are our priorities going to be? It'd be good to get some to rule a region. There's Dost Mohammed there. He's a good one. Gets a couple of discs, a couple of tribes into Kabul, and an army, and a spy onto a card. And we can just about afford Dost Mohammed in a military round. The other alternative, I think, would be Mohan Lal to get 3 of our discs out as spies, but I'm going to spend all 4 of our coins, possibly foolhardy, to take Dost Mohammed. I always like him anyway. So 2 discs into 2 tribes into Kabul, and we'll take that. He was twice king of Afghanistan. Dost Mohammed was born to a prominent family in the service of the Durrani Empire. He was exiled to British India after being usurped by Shah Shuja and the British. And he later returned to Kabul and ruled until his death in 1863. So he's obviously quite powerful. He enables us to place a lot of tribes and spies and an army as well. So that's our 2 actions. 1 to purchase the card into our hand, and 1 to play the card into our court. Dost Mohammed has no special actions on the bottom, and we couldn't take them anyway because we're in a military round. So let's just quickly clean up. There's another event. This one is riots in Persia. So if it is discarded, that is falls off the edge of the cardboard there. We will remove all tribes and armies in Persia, and otherwise, if purchased, you get 3 rupees from the bank. So back to Wakhan. Zoom in on our cards here. The first action is betray, and then a battle on a court card, and then radicalize. She will favour column number 1 in the top row if possible. So she has a betray action, and I believe she will always betray if possible, even her own cards. Wakhan will betray the highest priority card with a loyalty prize where she also has a spy, including those in her court. She will always take the loyalty prize. So this is just some means for Wakhan to collect these loyalty prizes, which are these coloured banners on the bottom. So she will spend 2 coins to betray Mir Murad Beg. So 1 coin on each of those. Her spy is removed and the card is removed, and because that is her last political card in Transcaspia, she also returns this tribe and loses control of Transcaspia. But, forgot that, she takes this as a prize. So she now has 1 British prize, 1 British card as a prize. So that was her first action. The second action is to battle on the highest priority court card. Well, there's no court cards to battle on because she has no spies. And then to radicalize. So we said 1 from the top. So she will take this card in her out. No, she won't. Because she has to pay for her cards up front, like we all do. She can't afford to pay the 2 coins to take this one. So she takes the next cheapest card in that row that she can afford, which is this one in Punjab. So she gets those 2 coins, takes this card, Punjab, and places it on the left of Haji Khan Kakar. This is the Sikh merchants in Lahore, and it allows her to place a road in Punjab. Now her pragmatic loyalty is once again Afghanistan, so yes, 1 road in Punjab, and the order for roads is dictated by these symbols along the bottom of the card, and in this case the first is Kabul, which is adjacent to Punjab, so she will place in there. She'll place the road there. The next action is to put a disc in Punjab, or on a Punjab card. We don't have one, that's the only one there, so she will do that. And this black icon here, I don't have a zoom set up for this position, but that black icon there is leverage, which means she gets 2 coins from the bank, which is one of the few ways to get more money into the game. Otherwise you start with 4 coins and there's not a lot of money introduced into the game. If she loses this card, she has to pay the 2 coins back, and if she has no coins, she has to decimate her court to return cards. So that is, she has to pay the cards back into the discard pile. Okay, so that is her 2 actions. She has no free actions on the bottom because she has no military cards. So I'll shuffle these down, refresh the board, and it's our go. We have no money, so we are either, well, we could do some of these actions here, but we don't have any, or we're going to take these cards from the 0 row there. Now I'm kind of tempted just to pick up both of those into our hand and take the money, keep the money, hold the cards into our hand until the next turn. And I think that's what I'm going to do. Yes, this is a Patriot card, Arthur Connolly. We can take it and we can play it because we are already favoured the British faction. So I'm going to take all those coins, take both these cards as my 2 actions, and they're in my hand. So I'm going to put them there and probably forget all about them for a couple of turns. So that's my 2 actions. I have no free actions. Money is important at the moment because this suit is in military and everything's expensive. So there's our first dominance check card. Now, while there's one of these in the trade row, then Wakhan will act slightly differently in terms of which cards she will radicalize. She will attempt to maximize her position to take advantage of that card. When that card is discarded or purchased, or if another dominance check card comes into this trade row, then we will resolve a dominance check A dominance check, first off, is to check whether any faction has 4 or more blocks out than all the other factions. At the moment, we don't, because Afghans only have 2 and the Brits have 1 and the Russians have none out. So no one has dominance at the moment. If a coalition, so not a faction, it's a coalition, has dominance, then we see who is which player has the most influence in that coalition. And we do that by counting patriots in play and the single symbol there, any gifts we have in play, and any prizes that we have collected. So at the moment, I have 1 influence in the British coalition, and Wakhan has 1 natural influence in all the coalitions and 1 extra in British. If no coalition is dominant, then we're going to see who has the most cylinders in play. Now at the moment, in terms of tribes and spies, at the moment that's me with 3-2. So I would win points if we failed a dominance check, if the coalitions failed a dominance check, which is what is going to happen at the moment. Waffled on a bit about that, actually. Probably better just to see it played. So that was my go. I bought those 2 cards, purchased those 2 cards over to Wakhan. Wakhan's cards this time, our pragmatic loyalty again is to Afghanistan, or the Afghans, and her first action is to battle on the highest priority court card, and then battle anywhere, and then radicalize. She is not going to battle because there are no court cards to battle on. She's not going to battle on the map because there are no conflicting armies and tribes on the map. So she's just going to radicalize. Now, I said she behaves slightly differently if there's a dominance check on the board and she just has a free radicalize action. If a coalition has dominance, she will play to maximize the numbers of roads and armies that she can place this turn. If a coalition has if no coalition has dominance, she will radicalize in order to maximize the number of cylinders she can place. Now, as no coalition has dominance, she is going to do the latter, which is play to get the most cylinders out. She has 4 coins, and which means she can afford anything from column 2, 1 or 0, and this Kabul card here, Mohan Lal, will allow her to place 3 discs, whereas everything else will just 2 or 1 or 0. So she is going to put 2 coins onto the city of Ghazni and take Mohan Lal. She's going to play it onto the right hand side of her court and place 3 of these discs onto Kabul cards. Now she will, I believe, place them onto my card as a priority. She then goes back up to the top of her action list, which says battle on the highest priority court card with the most spies, where Wakhan also has at least 1 spy. Now we can see that now we have a court card with spies and Wakhan spies, so she's going to battle there. And that means she is going to remove my spy from that card. Now I don't lose the card because she's not betraying Dost Mohammed, she's just killing my spies on that card. But I do lose a cylinder as a result. Actually, she's not going to do the battle action because she hasn't got a battle action that she can play. So she can't do that. She could betray, but the card doesn't say to betray, the card says to battle. So she can't battle at all. So she's going to radicalize again. Okay, so the next cheapest card that will give her the most discs is Alexander Griboyedov, who is a Russian patriot. And she is going to take him for free, and she's going to place him on the right hand side of her court and place 2 more discs onto Persian cards. Now she has the only Persia cards, so they're both going onto there. Now as you can see, she's managed, just following her simple instructions, she's managed to place a whole lot of discs this turn. The other thing she would do if a dominance check card is on the board is buy it, is to purchase or radicalize it if she can. Now obviously it's going to cost her 10 coins to do that at this point, and she has nowhere near enough. Right. She would do any free actions if she had any military cards, but she doesn't. Her court size is 3+1 because she has 1 political card, so she doesn't have to discard any of those, so she's all good. Now I said if another dominance check comes up out of this deck, then we will immediately carry out those, remove both of those cards and carry them out, carry out the instructions. So this deck is not entirely random. It's created by interspersing the standard deck with these dominance checks and these events, and then shuffled in segments, kind of like when you construct the event deck in Pandemic or the deck in a coin game. So there's about 7 cards potentially between dominance checks in this game. Well, I guess 13 cards if they're at the top and bottom of their respective piles, but they could be next to each other. So our go, we are looking to also expand the number of cylinders we've got in play, and to that end, neither of the cards that we have in hand are particularly good for this. But I'm looking at Fath Ali Shah here, who is another leader who will allow us to take control of Persia. So I'm going to take him, purchase and play him, and put 2 more discs out into Persia, thus taking control of Persia. And that changes the favoured the suit to intelligence. Favoured suit to intelligence. Possibly a mistake because it gives Wakhan quite a few actions here and us none, and we still have none anyway. So, and it also makes the cards cheaper again. But Wakhan still can't afford that dominance check right now. Okay, Wakhan's turn. Let's have a look at what her cards are telling her to do. First, build. She has no build action. Then move. She does have moves. And then radicalize again. So firstly, to build, she cannot do that. Then move. She will move to place her armies opposite my cylinders in order to battle them later. Now, she has no armies on the board because her pragmatic loyalty this turn is to Russia. So she won't move either. She will radicalize. And again, she will radicalize in order to place the most discs. She cannot afford that dominance check, or she would buy it. So, radicalizing the cheapest card that will allow her to place the most discs. She's going to take Haj Mirza Agassi, and she's going to place him on the right. Now that allows her to place a counter into Persia, but she has to pay us tax because we already have 2 leaders in Persia. 2 tribes in Persia. But one of her coins is protected because she has a whatever these economy suit cards. Yes, the economic suit protects one of her coins, so she just has to pay us 1. Otherwise she'd have to pay us 1 for each of our leaders here. And so she's putting this counter. No, it wasn't that one. Yes, it was. No, it wasn't. So she takes another counter and places it in Persia. We don't lose control of Persia because we still have the most tribes in there. So that was her first radicalize action. She still has no build action, and she hasn't got enough money to do so anyway. She has no point in moving. There's no Russian armies on the board, so she will radicalize again. She cannot afford the dominance check, and will therefore take this card in order to place more discs out. It's going to move her cards along that way. She's going to have to discard a bunch in a minute anyway. So 2 Russian roads out of Kabul, 1 into Kandahar because of that square, and 1 into Herat because of that octagon. She then places a disc onto a Kabul card, which I believe she will place onto ours, and then switch the suit back to political. So that's her 2 radicalize actions. She'll then go across the bottom. This is the first time she's done this. She will attempt to do any of these free actions on the political card. So first off, she has a betray, which she cannot do. She has no money. Then a gift action, which she cannot do because she has no money. Onto Haj Mirza Agassi here. Again, a betray action, which she can't do, and a battle action, which she can do. She can kill my spy on Kabul, which she will do. Just check the priorities on that. Yes, she would battle on the map if appropriate, which it isn't. So she will battle on a card where we both have spies. Now, that's all her actions used. She has 6 cards in her court and only 2 political cards, so she must discard a card. There's a priority list for discarding cards. First off, it's non-political, so these 2 political cards are safe. Then it's, oh no, hang on, non-political, then non-patriot. Then non-leveraged, so that's a leveraged card, so she won't discard that. Then the most player spies more than Wakhan spies, none. I don't have any spies on her card. Then the fewest spies, they're both 0. The lowest rank, the rank is the number of stars here on these cards. And the lowest rank is the Kabul Bazaar, which she will discard. So she now has 5 cards in her court and a court limit of 5, so she's good. Back to me. Well, let's have a clean up. Okay, I had a feeling we were going to see another dominance check there. I've got some work to do on cylinders there. And likewise, I'm unlikely to be able to place enough blocks to get British dominance. And even if I did get British dominance, she is Wakhan has 2 influence in Britain, so she has more influence in my chosen faction than I do. Now that's my fault because I haven't particularly played to that. Right, first off I have to look, if I let this card go off the edge of the board, it counts as discarded, and we'll have to remove all tribes and armies in Persia. That's 2 of mine and 1 of Wakhan's. But worse than just losing that, I would lose my Persia card, and so would Wakhan. And I don't really want to do that, so I'm probably going to have to purchase that card as 1 action. Yeah, that will give me 3 rupees just for purchasing that. I think in the interest of keeping money out of Wakhan's hands and keeping that dominance check at bay for a little longer, I'm going to just purchase both of these cards. So this one first, I'm purchasing it so I get 3 rupees from the bank. 1, 2, 3. And secondly, I'm going to take this card. I've got a lot of money here and I'm not doing much with it. That goes into my hand. I still have no actions to play, so we're going into the cleanup phase. Still no second dominance check. Okay, back to Wakhan. Our first action here is to radicalize the highest ranked political card. Then, if she can't do that, she will. The next action says if military cards are favored, radicalize the highest ranked military card. Well, military cards aren't favored. And then finally, just a plain old radicalize. She cannot afford to radicalize the highest ranked political card because she has no money. Their military cards are not favored, so it's just back to a plain old radicalize. She will favor number 3 on the bottom. She can't afford number 3 on the bottom, nor number 2, 1, so she can only afford this card, Persia, which is another British patriot. It's Anglo-Persian trade. And it's going on the right hand side of her court. Nope, hang on, that's wrong. She will take the card that places the most discs for her, which will be this one, which is another disc on a Persian card, which will go on to mine, and then that changes the suit to military. So that's her first action. Back up to the top. Radicalize the highest ranked political card. She can't do that. And then if military cards are favored, which they are now, radicalize the highest ranked military card. She can't afford to do that either. So she will just I think she just radicalizes the cheapest card she can, which happens to be this Persia card she was looking at before. So she will place a road. Now, even though this card has a pink or British block depicted, we would have to play a British block. She doesn't have to. She plays her pragmatic loyalty, which is Russia. And she's placing another road out of Persia and into Herat because of this octagon symbol here. Okay. she has no free actions. She must discard 2 cards. So quickly working through which ones she won't. She won't discard any Patriots. She won't discard any leveraged cards. She will discard the cheap, there are no spies on any of them. She will discard the lowest ranked card, which is Jean-Francois Allard. And she will also discard Mohan Lal. Yep, so those 2 cards. Now we've definitely lost this dominance check. I can buy it, I can purchase it, and we will lose based on the number of cylinders we have in play, because no country, no coalition has dominance. Or I can just let it drop off the end of the trade row and that will come into effect anyway. If I purchase this, however, I can remove all tribes and armies in a single region. So I can clear out Kandahar and gain a coin and still have 1 action remaining. I just looked. We had to, my hand is too big. I can only have 2, my hand size should be 2 plus the number of intelligence cards I have in my court. And I have no intelligence cards in my court, so I have to discard one of these cards down at the end of my last go. Now I think I'm going to discard this Transcaspia card, because looking at these 2 cards, they allow me to place a lot of blocks. So maybe we can push through for a British dominance in time for the next dominance check, and hopefully pick up some Patriots or prizes as well. I mean, we can afford a lot of gifts. So the city of Ghazni here will allow us to buy some gifts as well, which count as influence. So should we buy the event card and remove these army and tribe from Kandahar, and then play one of these cards? Yeah, okay. Right. So we're going to take this. Rebuke. Remove all tribes and armies in a single region. We are going to remove that Afghan army and this Wakhan spy. And that is, she loses control of Kandahar, so this card is discarded. So that's our first action. For our second action, we could take another card. There's a British patriot over here, Henry Pottinger. He's quite expensive though. We could afford it, but he's going to cost us 10 coins to buy. I'd rather not put that much money into the bank up there. So I'm going to play this Kabul card. And I am going to play it that side. You always have to play to the left or right of your existing court. You can't play into the middle. You can't shuffle them around. They're fixed in this order. So 3 British roads. Butterfingers. 3 British roads out of Kabul and 1 British army in Kabul. So let's have a British road into Transcaspia, because well, they're all pretty safe, to be honest. We'll go Punjab and Kandahar, the newly vacated Kandahar. So that's my 2 actions. I can't do any military actions. But next turn I can buy some gifts in order to get my influence up. In cleanup, I don't have to discard from my hand, I don't have to discard from my card. This falls off the edge and is assessed. So, a dominance check then. Check to see if a single coalition has more than 4 blocks, 4 or more blocks than any other coalition. Well, we have 4 more than the Afghan army, but we don't have 4 more blocks than the Russians. So that is a success of a failure of the dominance check. So we then check who has the most cylinders. It's fairly obvious that Wakhan has the most cylinders, so she gets 3 points, but we still get a bonus of 1 point because we have some cylinders out. We're in second place in that. If this was a dominance check success, we would now remove all these blocks from the map, but it isn't, so we're not going to. I have a feeling a dominance check is coming up, and it was. Right, Wakhans go. If no coalition has dominance, which no coalition does, radicalize the card that would place the most spies and or tribes. So which card would which card would radicalize the most tribes and or spies? She can only afford something from column 0, so it's this Kandahar card, Charles Masson. So she takes that and she places it on the right hand side of her tableau and puts out 2 tribes, 2 spies onto a Kandahar card. She only has 1. I need to check to see what she does if she has no extra spies. Now, I seem to recall a rule that says if you need to place an army or road, you must pick one up from somewhere else and play it. But I can't find one that says what Wakhan does if she runs out of cylinders, so I'm just going to leave that on 1 card. But I have a feeling it's too late. When she played that Persia card, she should have paid me a bribe, and she has no money. But I can't remember what the state of play was back then, so I'm going to leave that. The second action, battle on the highest priority court card. I have literally no spies out, so there is no battling on court cards to happen. And then she's going to radicalize. Again, there's a dominance check in play, and again, no coalition has dominance, so she will play again to place the most discs, which is going to be Paolo Avitabile for the Punjab. Let's just shuffle these along a bit. Now she's going to want to play a ruler into Punjab. So let's just take one of these spies off of Kabul. And her favoured, she's favouring the Afghans this round, so we place an Afghan army as well. So that's her 2 actions. If she had any military cards, she would then do any free actions, but she doesn't, so we're looking at clean up. She will have to discard a card. It's not going to be political, it's not going to be a patriot, it's not going to be leveraged, so it's going to be Charles Masson here. So she's putting that disc back in there. Okay, if I don't pick this card up, all tribes and armies in Punjab will be removed at the end of my go, which is good for me because that's Wakhan stuff there. So what am I going to do? Now I can place a lot of British blocks on the board, and get the British coalition dominance, but that's not going to help a great deal unless I can win the next counting. So what I'm saying is, even if I get British dominance, I still have less influence in the British coalition. Gifts. That's how I can do it. I could buy and play this European Cannons card, and then play the gifts action as a free action. I'd still have to pay for the gift, and it will also allow me to play 3 armies into Transcaspia, assuring British dominance. Is that then going to be enough? That will mean I have 2 influence in Britain, and unfortunately Wakhan now has a British patriot, so she has 3 influence in Britain, so that's not enough. I could buy Henry Pottinger, a British patriot, but then I'm not going to have enough money to buy a gift. Now, Wakhan doesn't have a lot of money, and there's no money on the board. I have all the money. So let's try this. We're going to take the Transcaspia card, the European Cannons, and play it in the same turn. That allows me to play 3 British armies into Transcaspia. Then, because this is a military card, I can play this gift action as a free action and just pay 2 coins for a gift. That gives me 2 influence. But Wakhan cannot yet buy the dominance check. Right, I don't have to discard from my court or my hand. Over to Wakhan. Her card says, if Wakhan's court size is at its limit, which it is, radicalize the highest ranked political card. This is the highest ranked political card that she can afford, and it's going to go onto the right hand side, and she's going to place a disc into Herat. So that was her first action. Second action says tax. Now she taxes, she has a tax action on Anglo-Persian trade and the Sikh merchants in Lahore. She will seek to tax me . Now I don't have a Herat card and I don't have a Punjab card, so she cannot tax me. There are cards she can tax up here though, which is what she will do. Now, which of these 2 cards is she going to tax with? She will do it in card priority order. Matches favoured suit, no. Patriot of the dominant coalition, yes, she will use this one then, this Anglo-Persian trade, to tax, and she will take it from that Punjab card. So that is an action she's actually, that's actually cost her an action. And then she will attempt to radicalize. Oh, right. What we forgot to do was this goes in cleanup. And it allows us to remove all tribes and armies in Punjab. So she loses that Punjab card. So her first action, which was if Wakhan's court size was still at its limit, so she would purchase the Herat card, which she did, which radicalized the Herat card. And her second action then was to tax. So that is both of her actions. Okay, on to cleanup. Now, what we need is we can afford that dominance check. It would cost us 4 coins. So there's the 4 coins for the dominance check. We've still got 2, 4, 6, 7 coins left. We could buy Henry Pottinger. We're putting a lot of money back into the bank, but it's going to get us even on scoring at this point, and it will clear all these blocks from the board. To that end, I'm tempted to let it go another round so it's cheaper, so we're putting less money into the board. And if that's the case, we don't 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now there's a lot of building of armies and roads would need to go on to get the Brits out of dominance at the moment. So I don't think she's going to be able to do that. I think the Brits are locked in for dominance. We just need to make sure that we have the most influence when that dominance check occurs. Which we can do through this gift action again. Okay, so if I buy the gift, then we're backloading the board, not front loading the board with money. So it's a bit deferred. So I'm going to buy, with my European cannons, I'm going to buy another gift. So that was 4 coins to buy a second gift. We now got 1, 2, 3 influence in Britain, and it's Wakhan still has 3 influence in the Brits, but that was a free action. I'm gonna buy and play Henry Pottinger, I think. So 4 coins. Remember, it's double because we're in the military suit to buy Henry Pottinger here. When I play him, and I want to play him at this end, I think, safe from these spies, although he's effectively vulnerable to these spies. I can place a disc on a Punjab card. So I might as well put it over there. And we change the suit to the economic suit. So that was 2 actions. So 1 free action to buy the gift, 2 actions to play Henry Pottinger here. We've got potentially this free action on the city of Ghazni, but we don't have enough coins left to take advantage of that. We need 6 to buy our next gift, but we have now got 4 British influence compared to Wakhan's 3. And we have enough to buy the dominance check next round. So let's move into the cleanup and see what Wakhan is going to do. So, radicalize a card that will gain Wakhan control of a region. There are actually that Persia card, Abbas Mirza, Will it gain control? It will gain control of Persia. So we're going to have to let her do that. I think. So, she's going to put 1 coin onto Transcaspia. Cost to buy cards now back down to 1. She takes those 2 coins and takes the Persia card. She then plays it onto the right of her court. Now, in order to play that card, she has to pay us a bribe. And because I have 2 rulers, she has to pay us 2 rupees. She then places her last cylinder and an Afghan army into Persia, which then gets her control. So she gets this counter. I haven't lost my tribes, so I don't lose my Persia card. Okay, but I have lost control of Persia. Right. She will then build. She has a build action on this Persia card, but she has no money to do so. So she's back to radicalize. She would favour the 4th card on the bottom, but having no money, she would try to buy this card. Now she's put coins onto that card this round, so she cannot buy that card. So she will buy this card. Have to shuffle her court along this way a little bit. William Moorcroft requires her to place another spy on to a Kandahar card. She has no spare spies or cylinders. So, shall we allow her to move 1 from somewhere else? Okay, the rules are a little unclear on where a spy comes from if Wakhan has no cylinders. So I'm going to take another spy from another card based on the general card priority order. And the first one there says, so that's the general card priority order here. And the first one says from an opponent's card. So I'm simply going to take one of these spies from my Kabul card and put it onto Kandahar. So that is Wakhan's turnover. If at any point she could have afforded the dominance check card, she would have bought it if she stood to make the most victory points, but she never did because I now have most influence in the dominant coalition. So she wouldn't buy that card. Okay, there's another British patriot, Joseph Wolfe. We have 3 coins left. The dominance check will cost me 1, and I will get 5 victory points. She will get 3, putting us both on 6 points at that stage. Is there anything I want to do before I buy that dominance check card? For instance, if I buy the dominance check card first and then decide I want this Kandahar card, I cannot get it. Wrong one. Okay, so if I buy the dominance check card first, I can then no longer buy this Kandahar card even if I wanted it. But I don't think I want that Kandahar card. I have this Herat card in my hand, which will allow me to place a whole load of roads, but I don't really want to do that because after the dominance check, all these blocks are going to be cleared. It's going to be a clear map. So having some cards in my hand that will allow me to play cards might be a good idea. Well, I already have the Herat card that will allow me to play cards. I would have to pay tax to Wakhan in order to play that Herat card now. And likewise, if I took this Kandahar card, which also has a lot of blocks to play, that would be a similar outcome. No, she's not in charge in Kandahar. So we could purchase the dominance check, do the dominance check, clear the blocks, and then immediately play 3 roads into Herat and start pushing for British dominance once again. I have a feeling the next dominance check card is going to be pretty soon, based on how many cards have come since that dominance check came out. So let's go for it. Let's do it. Right, I'm going to buy the dominance check. So in a dominance check, check see if a single coalition has 4 more blocks than any other, which is true. The British have 6 blocks more than the Afghans and 5 blocks more than the Russians, so they are dominant. In that case, we see who has the most influence. I have 1 because of Henry Pottinger, 2, 3 because of these British gifts, and 4 for the default influence just for supporting that a coalition. So I have 4. Wakhan has 1 for this for the prize, 1 for just base loyalty, and 1 for 1 patriot over here, the Anglo-Persian trade. So she has 3, so I win that influence check, so I get 5 points. She came second, which gives her 3 points. So we're now back to level pegging with 2 dominance checks gone from the game. I still have an action in hand, and with my newly discovered court card rule, I have plenty of room in the court to play. First off, we have to move all these blocks, so let's quickly tidy these away. So all the armies and all the roads go back in the box. It's like after a period of peace, after the dominance check, all the armies and just withdrawn and left the region for a short while, and then immediately we start to build back up again by building British roads in Herat. Now I have to pay tax for the 1 leader in Herat, and I'm going to build roads from Persia, Kabul and Transcaspia, I think. My court is fine because I can have 7 cards, 3 by default, 5, 7. Do I want to do any free actions? This one allows me to buy more gifts, but I don't have any money. This one allows me to move spies and armies. Now I can move my spy. I have a spy here with the Sikh merchants in Lahore. Now I could move that spy up to 3 spaces. So I could move that spy up to Persia, to the Anglo-Persian trade card here. And I could, well, I couldn't, I don't have a betray action. In another go, I could potentially betray that to remove that influence from Wakhan. Thinking ahead to the next dominance check. I'm not going to move my spy. So that's the end of my go. Let's clean up. I don't think we remove all gifts. They're only lost if you change loyalty. Now, at any point during the game, you can change loyalty. I could change loyalty to Russia by playing one of these Russian Patriot cards. If I was to purchase supplies from Orenburg or Jan Prosper Witkiewicz, I don't know. If I was to purchase him and play him, then I would switch allegiance to the Russian coalition. Likewise, if I was to betray one of these cards and take the Russian prize, I would lose all my British gifts and switch my allegiance to Russia, which is something that can be quite useful. Anyway, let's see what Wakhan is going to do. The pragmatic loyalty lies with Afghan, and if she has a card with the move action, if she has no card with the move action, well, she has a card with the move action, so we'll skip that. So the second action is to move. There are no armies to move, so she won't do that. She's back to radicalize. There is no dominance check in the board, so she's just going to do her standard. She wants to radicalize from the second space on the bottom. So that's this Herat card. So she's going to put a coin there and there, radicalize this card, and it's going on the right hand side of her court. She's got way too many cards. No, she's got one too many cards. So before we purchase that, let's just put this here ready. Before she purchases that card, she has to discard one card from her last round. So it's not going to be a political card. So it's not going to be a political card. It's not going to be a patriot. It's not going to be that leveraged card. So it's going to be William Moorcroft from Kandahar. He is going, and he should have gone at the end of her last turn, but it made no odds. She's now buying this Herat card, which is going on the right hand side. She can play this one disc that she has, this spy, onto a Herat card. I have a Herat card, so she will play it there, and it's a leverage card, so she gets 2 coins. And back up to the top, move again, still no point moving, so she will buy the second card. She will attempt again. She can't buy this card anymore. She can't buy either of these because she's put coins on them, so I think she buys this card. So one on there, one on there. It's another British Patriot. I'm just sleeping and not picking up these Patriot cards. Her court grows ever bigger. And she places 2 blocks, and it's going to be Afghan blocks, even though it says British Army. She's going to play 2 Afghan army blocks into Kandahar. Any free actions? She has a tax action in Punjab. No, hang on. She controls Herat and Persia. I have a Herat and a Persia card, but my single rupee is tax exempt at the moment, so she's going to have to take him from the board. So the first tax action she takes from the bottom, so Transcaspia. The next tax action she also takes from that bottom card, and that is it. She is allowed a court of 6 cards, and she has 1, 2, 3, 4. She has 8, so she's going to discard 2 of these. So not political cards, not patriots. That leaves those 2. Now, unfortunately for her, they are both leveraged cards. So as she discards them, she's going to have to return 4 coins to the bank. Leverage card is this black icon with the scales there. There, focus. Right, cool. So both of those cards are going back. So that cylinder, my cylinder, both of those cards. And 1, 2, 3, 4 coins are returned to the bank. They go to the bank. They don't go onto this board. They are out of the game. So it reduces the amount of currency in the economy. She has 2 coins left. I have 1, and there are 2, 4, 6, 8 coins. So there's the 3 coins that I got from the bank are extra in the economy at the moment. So that's the end of her go. Let's have a look at this event card. This event card says riots in Herat. Remove all tribes and armies in Herat, which there's 1 tribe and that belongs to Wakhan. That's if it's discarded. If it's purchased, your tribes may move and battle as if they were armies until the next dominance check. So we haven't had one of these that actually stays in play. So if I purchase that, my tribes can move around the map over the roads as if they were armies. We haven't had a lot of movement on the map, and we haven't seen many battles on the map. That might be a good one to get, actually. Although I don't have a lot of battle actions. I just have Henry Pottinger over here with his single battle action. I don't have the money to buy that card at the moment anyway. I've only got 1 rupee. So that's not going to happen, is it? So I could buy that Kandahar card up there, purchase that Kandahar card and get 3 more blocks out. I can't purchase and play this one because it would switch my allegiance to the Russians, which is not something I want to do at the moment, the Russians being not very influential. There's that Punjab card, Makapon Dynasty in column 1 that I could afford. I'm tempted to push ahead with the British dominance. I think we're going to take this Kandahar card and we're going to play it over there. It gives me 2 coins, so I'm going to purchase and play it in one go. Or shall I just buy it and also buy that Punjab card? And then just hold on to it to the next turn. Next turn I might want Joseph Wolfe, the Patriot there. No, we're going to play this. We're going to play that Kandahar card and place 2 British roads out of Kandahar and an army in Kandahar. So let's play into Punjab and into Kabul, where I have some influence there. I have 2 tribes in Kabul. So the favoured suit is still economy. I can't afford any gifts. To move, I don't think I want to move right now. And again, gifts and moves, so a bit limited there. Let's clean up. And Wakhans go. So her first action would be tax, and then radicalize the highest ranked intelligence card if she can afford it, and then just a normal radicalize. So she has a tax action on this Persia card, which she will take. My money is all nice and safe thanks to my 2 economy, my 3 economy cards. So my first 8 rupee are exempt from tax. So she will just tax that Trans-Caspia card there. Radicalize the highest ranked intelligence card. That happens to be Jan Prosper. What's his name again? So she will radicalize him. This was a free action, by the way, because it's of the current suit. This one, this radicalize, isn't a free action. And that's going on the bottom, on the right hand side over there. It allows her to place 2 tribes into Transcaspia. Just check, no one's ruling Transcaspia, so that's all right. So the first one comes from her board, and she will play onto mine. And the second one, if we play in that priority order again, comes from opponent's card that matches the favoured suit. It's going to be this Herat card, and that's going to go on to Transcaspia there. So she has taxed with 1 action, which was a free action because it was on an economy card, then radicalized the highest ranked intelligence card. Now she's going for a default radicalize. She wants column number 3 on the bottom. She can afford it. So she places these coins there, there, and there, and takes this card, which is the Ark of Bukhara. Built in the 5th century, the Ark is a massive fortress, which legend says was constructed by the epic hero Siavusha. The Ark has undergone centuries of renovation and improvement. And this, that one, she does not pay for Russian patriots in the market. So she's probably owed Where did he come? He came from there, so she can have a coin back for that Russian patriot. That's because of this action here. She has a long-standing action there that I've forgotten a couple of times. Alexandra Griboyev allows her to purchase Russian patriots for free. So he obviously, he's good at recruiting them. So we gave her Jan Prosper for free. The Ark means that her tribes in Transcaspia cannot be attacked. But I don't think she's going to be hanging on to that one long. But she's putting out a Russian army and switching the favoured suit to intelligence. So that's her 2 actions now, along with the tax action she held. So now we're going to sweep through her 2 intelligence cards. First one is to move. She would think about moving this Russian army because her pragmatic loyalty lies with Russia this turn, but there is nowhere adjacent sensible for this Russian army to move to, I don't think, which is absolute tosh. She will move to an adjacent region where I have tribes based on this order here. So she will move this Russian army into Persia. Interestingly, that again gives her prior. She never actually ruled Persia until she moved that army in there. Missed that. So that is that move action. And then we come along to here. There is a move, which she won't do because there are no more Russian armies. And then a build. She has not got enough coins, so she will not build. So that's the end of Wakhan's go. And there is the third of 4 dominance checks. Now, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So, with 9 cards remaining in the deck, I think that from now on, any of them could be the dominance check. So the next one could be the last dominance check, which would trigger the end of the game if it came out now. Okay, she's going to have to discard some of these, surely. She can have a court of 6, and she's got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So she will not discard political cards. She will not discard patriots at a priority. So she's going to discard, as I said, that won't hang around long, the Ark. She's going to have to discard one of these patriots now, I think. So neither the political cards, then non-patriot. The fact that they're all patriot means we'll move on to the next criteria, which is non-leveraged. Most player spies more than Wakhan. I have no spies here. Fewest spies. So it's going to be the British regulars. The British regulars in Kandahar are being discarded. So she's just discarded some British influence there, so she's back down to 3 again. So if I could afford that dominance check, we could actually go into the lead, but I can't. If I take this card, even though it's a Russian patriot, but don't play it, just take it for the money, I can then afford, with my second action, I can afford that dominance check. And I have 1, 2, 3, 4 influence. She only has 3. That would put me onto 11 points, and she would be on 9. Is there a rush to get this dominance check? If the next dominance check comes out at the end of my go, then we score it immediately and I will win. So we need to bolster my influence here. So if I bought Joseph Wolf, who is also luckily of the favoured suit, not that he gets us any flash interesting actions particularly. Now we're only 1 tile ahead, 1 block ahead of the Afghans here. So I can't rely on she will push to play blocks on her turn. Because the coalition is dominant, she will push to radicalize cards that give her blocks on her turn. Let's buy Joseph Wolf. And play him. Oh look, I didn't realize all these cards are way off screen. There, we can just about see Joseph Wolf on the edge there. Maybe move these up a little more. He allows us to play a block onto a Persia card, but first we're going to have to pay some tax, a bribe to Wakhan because she rules in Persia. Then that allows us to play a cylinder onto a Persian card. Now, if I play that there, I still don't have a betray action. I have no money, but our intelligence cards. Oh, we have a battle card here. That allows us to battle here and remove one of those Afghan armies. Henry Pottinger there. And Joseph Wolf allows us to move an army or a spy. No, I think we're okay there. So that's the end of that. Over to Wakhan. Right. Wakhan's actions are to radicalize the card that would place the most armies and or roads. So that would be, she has 2 coins, so she can afford anything from row 2 backwards. So this card will allow her to place 2 armies. So she will buy that. Which she is going to put on the right hand side of her tableau. So we're going to push Alexandra slightly behind my shoulder there. And place 2 armies of Russian armies into Punjab. Now this is what I was slightly afraid of. We're relying on British dominance, and Brits are no longer dominant. And that was her first action. Her second action, if no coalition has dominance, which is now the case, radicalize the card that would place the most spies and or tribes. She actually has no discs. She has no money. It would be this Punjab card. So now she takes those 3 coins and places this there. It allows her to place a tribe. So I believe she should take a tribe from elsewhere on the map in the order of this card, these symbols here. First being Kabul, no. Punjab, no. Kandahar, no. Persia. So she's going to take a tribe from Persia and place it into Punjab. So she now rules Punjab with that, but she loses the rule of Persia. It becomes more or less neutral because she has 1 tribe and 1 army, and I have 2 tribes. Also, that card is leveraged, so she's going to get 2 coins. So that is her 2 actions. She's now going to do any intelligence actions that she can. A move. She can move these 2 armies into Kabul to face off against my tribes. Another move, no further moves are necessary, so she will look at a build. So she will build as much as possible in the first region she rules according to this order. So that's going to be Punjab. So she is building 2 more Russian armies in Punjab. That's her 3 actions. So now a cleanup. She has 1, 2, 3, 4 political stars here, which means she can have 7 cards. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So she needs to discard a card, and it's not going to be political. It's not going to be a patriot. So it's going to be this Punjab card. It's going. Sorry, Alexander. We can maybe overlap them a little bit if we need to. On to my go. I'll clear up first. There's a lot of money on that Herat card. Where was this? Presumably it fell off of Aminullah. Right. Right now we are losing either way. There is no dominant coalition, so we're falling back on cylinders, and she has 3 more than we do. Now that card there, Riots in Herat, gets us a lot of money and gets rid of 1 of her cylinders. for one action. We can then use Joseph and Henry to move our British army here into the Punjab on our British road and kill that tribe. Those will both be free actions. So we will then only be one disc behind. Which is not going to bring us even this round, but so we'll purchase that card. Oh no, it's wrong, isn't it? We don't want to purchase that card. We want that card to expire, to get discarded, and then that will remove all the armies and tribes in Herat. Okay, let's take advantage of our free actions here before we do anything else. So with Joseph's move action, we're going to move this British army into Punjab, and then with Henry's battle action, we're going to remove this tribe. She has just lost her last tribe in Punjab, so she loses control of Punjab, and she also loses that card. That card is a leveraged card, so she has to pay back 2 rupees to the bank. She only has 1. The other card has to be paid with the other half of the debt has to be paid with a card from her court or her hand. She doesn't maintain a hand, so she can't discard a card from her hand. She decides the order in which these are discarded. Now, it's not political, and it wouldn't be Patriot, but all her remaining cards are Patriots. So the next one is non-leveraged, so it's not the Anglo-Persian trade. Then it's the one with the fewest spies, so she is discarding. So she's discarding Jan Prosper Vitkevich. Jan Prosper Vitkevich, exiled to Central Asia at 14 for attempting to organize a resistance against Russia in Poland. He made the most of his misfortune and found work within the Russian Foreign Service. He failed to deliver Kabul to his Russian masters. Disheartened, he burned his personal papers and committed suicide. Well, a rather tragic figure he is, and now he is being discarded. This counter goes back onto there. He's being discarded to pay for the leveraged debt. So we're a little bit more healthy on cylinders there, and we haven't taken an action yet. We've had 2 free actions from Henry and Joseph. So, and then at the end of this round, Herat's going to get cleared, so we're back to level on the cylinders. Now, can I do anything? I can't do anything to get a cylinder in play this turn. And I can only afford 1 card on this board, and it's this Transcaspia card, which I don't then want to play because it's a Russian Patriot. Which means I would switch my allegiance to the Russians, and I would lose my gifts here. So I'd end up with more counters on my board, which I do not want. So that's 1 action. Now I can buy, now I've got some money, I can buy another card. We have the fruit markets in Kandahar, which only allows us to place a road, which I'm not that bothered about. But looking next door at Gayam Magam Farahani, the politician, scientist and poet, he will allow me to place 2 of my discs next turn and an army when I play him. So, I'm going to buy him 1 coin in Kandahar, 1 coin in those riots, and we're going to take him, put him in our hand. We can't play him this turn, unfortunately. We have no more free actions. 1, 2, 3, 4, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. We do have to discard a card, however. I don't want to discard Joseph or Henry or any of my political cards, so I can discard this. Because I need to discard a card, I can just discard this European Cannons card now, which has one of their discs on. I could discard my Kabul Cup, which has 2 of her discs on, but I will also lose Kabul. So I'll have 2 of my discs coming back. So I'm going to discard the European Cannons here and return another disc to Wakhan, leaving me with 7 cards in my court, which is all nice and legal. 2 cards in my hand. I can have up to 4 now because of my intelligence cards here. So on to clean up. All these coins stay in that slot, so effectively I'm going to put them on that Persia card. And there are riots in Herat. Remove all tribes and armies in Herat. So there's another card. Another disc back, another cylinder. So that was rather successful in terms of staying on top there. So these all move down. She hasn't got the money to buy that dominance check anyway this turn, and she might do if she picks Persia, but she wouldn't do because she's currently losing. She will only buy that dominance check if she will win more victory points. So let's see what her card leads her to do. First off, the first action is to move. She has a free move action because of her Alexander down here. But there's not really anywhere for her to move. She has 3 armies standing around here, but she'll only ever move to equalize in Kabul, and she can't get from actually her pragmatic loyalty lies with Afghanistan this time. The Afghan army here, would that march into Kabul then to meet my tribes? She only moves armies and does not require roads. When moving, she'll move her armies to adjacent regions where other players have tribes. She will only seek to have as many armies as there are tribes in that region. So Wakhan will not move armies if this will cause her to lose a ruler token. So yeah, she will move that Afghan army into Kabul to face my tribes. Her second, so that was a free move action thanks to Alexander there. Her second action is to betray. She has a betray, she has 2 betray actions, but she has no money to carry it out, so she can't betray. So finally it's radicalize. There is a dominance check on the board. There's no clear dominance within the coalitions, so she will seek to place discs. Neither of the cards she can afford, which are these ones in column 0, allow her to place discs, luckily for us. So she will just buy according to her priority here, which is top. This red arrow points at top. So she buys this Persian card. Actually, she does not pay for Russian Patriots. Oh, that's a good point. Is there a Russian Patriot that allows her to place discs? Luckily, there is not. It's got Count Perovsky over here. Neither is much better than the other. So I think she'll just take that one, which she will place on the left, but she now has lots of money. That allows her to place 2 armies, and it will be Afghan armies into Persia, which now gives her ruling. She now rules Persia again. And she switches the faction to economic suit. So she had her move, and she's had one radicalize. So if she buys that dominance check now, is she going to win? No, I have more counters out, I have more cylinders out than she does, so she will not buy the dominance check right now. She will look again at the top of her actions, which is to move. There is nothing for her to move. Betray, she now has money. So she will betray. And she will betray an opponent's card. Now this is going to be interesting for her. She pays 2 coins. It doesn't matter which of these cards she's going to use, by the way. Her priority for betrayal starts with opponent's card. So she returns those 2 spies, and my card is discarded, which means my 2 tribes return and I lose control of Kabul. That is her 2 main actions used. She used that move action, and now the economic suit is favoured, and she is going to tax. Now she rules, just check this, she still rules, she does not rule in Herat. She lost Herat a while ago, so she should lose that card as well. She still had a betray action, so we haven't stuffed that up. Now we're on to this tax action. She is currently ruling in Persia by dint of her 2 Afghan armies. I have a Persia card. She could tax me, I have no money, so I don't know where we were going with that. She takes 1 coin, 1 rupee from that Kandahar card in the market. And that is her go finished. There are 2 cards left in the deck. One of them is a dominance check that will force the end of the game with double point scoring. I have no money, so I cannot buy that dominance check, which would give me a win. Well, it would put me in the lead. Right now, the best thing right now would be for the other dominance check to come out, force the end of the game, which would give me the win. Now, the only way a dominance check is going to come out is if I buy a card from here. I'd quite like to play Gayam Magam Farahani from my hand, because he allows me to put 2 more discs out. I'd also, if I buy both of these, I guarantee that the dominance check comes out, don't I? No risk there. Right, so that's what I've got to do. I've got to purchase both of these cards. Which guarantees during cleanup the second, let's just check there's only 2 cards there. The final dominance check will come out and force the end of the game with the final scoring for double points. I can't play any cards because I've used 2 purchase actions. I still have, oh no, we're on economic suit now. So I could buy some gifts and I can move, but I can't really do anything else. So I just have to let this go into the cleanup. We refill the court, or whatever it's called, the market. There is the last dominance check. That immediately forces a dominance check to occur. As this is the last dominance check of the game, it's worth double points. Is there a coalition in dominance? There is not. We're all within 3 of each other. So the most cylinders in play scores 3 points. I have the most cylinders in play by 1. So I would score 3, except it's double, so I score 6. Put me around on 12. And Wakhan scores 1, which is doubled to 2. So I think that is a win for us. Neat little finish at the end there. I was quite pleased with when I realised if I bought those 2 cards I could force the end of the game. There were plenty of ways for Wakhan to get discs in play and possibly buy the dominance check. So yeah, good game. That was quite long for this. I know I've been talking about what I've been doing, but that was coming up on 2 hours and probably twice as long as any other game of this that I've played. Hopefully didn't make too many mistakes. Hopefully nothing that will affect the outcome of the game. Well, we'll see when we review it. But that was a good one. It was quite calm in terms of battles, and there weren't a lot of betrayals, but I think you saw a couple. I wonder if I missed some bribes, but I think overall it was okay. Maybe a couple of rupees out here or there. Nothing terrible going on there, I don't think, in terms of rules violations. Okay, so that was Pax Pamir. Thanks for watching. I really enjoyed that one. I hope you did too. If you enjoy the stuff that I'm doing here, please have a look at the Patreon page, which there's a link in the description. And please like and subscribe this video, and head on over to Board Game Geek, for which there'll also be a link in the description, and click the thumbs up there. Views on Board Game Geek drive traffic back to YouTube for me, which is all good. And subscriptions, facing 300 subscribers, and this will probably be the last video I do in the first 12 months of the life of One Man and His Meeple. So it'd be really nice to hit 300 subscribers in a year. So please hit that button. Again, thanks for watching. Goodbye.